Thanks again for joining us on the broadcast tonight, live on Twitch. All right, we have Kevin on the left hand side, Chris on the right. And let me bring up some information here on these fellas as we move forward. Of course, if you want to take part in Pokemon, you can do so here live at Impact on Tuesday nights. Of course, you can check out our full calendar on our website, impactgaming.gg. All right, here we go. Charizard on the right-hand side. Chris is getting his stuff set up. Let's do this thing. Chris playing the nest ball, allowing him to grab a basic Pokemon to throw on the bench. Assuming that Chris is playing Charizard EX, a powerful card, a card that some in the realm of Pokemon have, I wouldn't say forgotten about, but definitely a card that isn't as played as much as we've seen over the last couple of years. But it on the board here for Chris, so we'll see how it fares in this matchup. Kevin bringing a deck. I believe he said Festival, so we'll see what is included in this deck. I don't know right off the top of my head. We'll see. It's always exciting to see what some of these players bring out to the table. All right, looks like a Fan Rotom comes down to the bench, allowing Chris to grab Pokemon. Got a Hoodoo out on the board as well. By the way, thank you all for watching tonight. We appreciate it. I saw we had a Prime sub earlier from Seaport. Seaport, thank you so much for that Prime sub here on Twitch.
Activate the Ditto to get the card.
So Chris activating the Ditto card here. Let's see what.
Oh, I thought it was a first turn thing. My bad.
And on the first turn, yeah.
So Ditto can only be activated with that ability if he's in the active spot.
If you want to switch him, you can go.
There's no actually.
So Charizard EX, as I was saying, is definitely a deck that has wins under its belt. I mean, international top 8, 12 of those, 4 wins. So, of course, Charizard EX is definitely not a slouch by any means. And it does look like he does have one Charmander on the board. And so we will possibly see that Charizard coming out next turn. All right, so I'm not actually super familiar with the deck Kevin's playing, so folks, we're going to be learning together. We will see what Kevin brings out here, and moving forward, figure out exactly what he is looking to do on his side. He is playing the Buddy Poffin. Of course, that card, huge card in the metagame right now. You really want to get that card down on turn 1 for the setup. It's all about the setup, folks. You got to get that. You got to get those Pokemon on the bench. You got to get them going, especially with the metagame now with all these Stage 2 Pokemon. You really by hopefully turn 2 or your second turn after you put the Pokemon on the board, you can get that thing leveled up or evolved per se. Be interesting to see as well this weekend if Charizard EX is a popular deck per se or not. Really curious to see if folks continue to believe in that. I mean, I definitely feel like it's definitely still a strong contender. to eke out some wins. Whether it can go all the way or not, that's a whole other question. All right, Kevin passes turn. Now Chris, what he wants to do here is
Underground, bench up to 8. Charmeleon.
all right. So he gets Charmeleon on the board. That'll allow him, of course, to get Charizard out next turn. So hopefully, for Chris's sake, Kevin can't do anything to mess that up next turn, because that's what you want. You need to get that Charizard out and going as fast as you can. Just one time at a big tournament, like Worlds, I just want to see a non-meta deck take it all. That would just, I would just love to see a non-popular, non-favorited deck just take it all. All right, Chris plays the Ultra Ball here. Let's see what he decides to grab. Looks like the Pidgeot there.
Rare candy to evolve in.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I always forget about that one.
You're good.
too.
Plays the rare candy, and it will evolve into that.
And with that, I'm gonna get one that doesn't need a rare candy into my hand because I don't have a Terra.
Still doesn't have a Terra Pokemon on the board.
Energy from hand.
Sets the energy down and will pass turn. All right, let's see what Kevin decides to do here. Plays the Pokegear. Still not seeing. No, he whiffs the Pokegear. No supporter card there. That always hurts.
Look at top 7 if you get a supporter card. You can submit it.
That one always hurts. You're always hoping with those cards that you pull the card you need, or at least something at any time, at some time, to advance your board state.
Evolve into Applin, evolve into attach retreat.
All right, attaches and retreats.
I'll use the ability Boom Boom Groove. Since I have Festival Lead in the active spot, I can search my deck for a card. Basically, quick search.
Yep.
All right, we're going to look up some information on this Festival Lead deck. I've actually never seen or played this deck.
Like the weird stuff, meta stuff. Okay.
So let's take a look at this. So the Diplin
Seemed like there were a couple
has that
things
Festival
like
Lead
they were a couple
ability.
different with the
If
ability.
Festival Grounds is in play, the Pokemon may use an attack it has twice. If the first attack knocks out your opponent's active Pokemon, you may attack again after your opponent chooses a new active Pokemon. And the attack on the Diplin is do the wave 20 times. The attack does 20 times for each of your benched Pokemon. So there you go. So this definitely what I would consider a non-meta deck. And hey, man, I'm all about that. I'm all about that. Sometimes you can use that surprise to your advantage. I know back in the day, one of my favorite decks to play was Rainbow Road. Nobody expected it. Of course, it went out of meta pretty quick, or not meta, but went out of the set pretty quick. But man, I'll never forget dropping Rainbow Road out there for some pretty big hits. So typically, I don't have the exact deck list from Kevin here. I am taking a look at some of the cards that are typically played with this deck, and it looks like a lot of times we see a lot of cards like Bug Catching Set and Earthen Vessel, maybe a Vitality Band in there as well. Be interested to see what cards Kevin does play in the deck. Chris taking a look at the Pokemon, trying to figure out exactly what it does. And Kevin will pull out the Technical Machine Evolution card.
Any number of Pokemon to your hand.
They go straight to.
So basically what happens here is you attach that as a tool. So he'll attach that to his active Pokemon. He does have to have an energy for it. but he can choose up to 2 of the bench Pokemon for each of those. Search a deck for a card that evolves from that Pokemon and put it onto that Pokemon to evolve it. So this will allow him to bring out some Stage 1 Pokemon pretty darn quick.
And I have this.
All right, so I'm trying to see there if he actually played. No, the evolution card is still in his hand. Okay, so he hasn't played that yet. I guess he doesn't have the energy in hand to activate that, but possibly next turn that'll happen. All right, back over to Chris's side now. We would assume that he will get that Charizard set up this turn. Yeah, there it is, out of the hand. And yeah, that's what Chris wants to see. So now we're going to see Charizard essentially take over the game. Good news for Kevin, and somebody mentioned this in the stream chat, thanks to Corey. He's hitting that Charizard for weakness, so able to do even more damage on that Charizard. So hopefully something that Chris is thinking about moving forward, because you would assume Chris would bring this card to the active spot. So if you're not familiar with what Charizard EX does, let's run it down for you. When you play the Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may search your deck for 3 basic fire energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like, and then shuffle the deck. So obviously a very powerful ability. And the attack isn't a slouch either. 180 plus 30 more for each prize card your opponent has taken. All right, so we'll be interested to see here if Chris brings the Charizard to the active spot or not this turn.
Prime catcher for your Mackie.
All right, so he prime catchers it up, and Charizard will take the knockout here, and the prices will now go down to 5 for Chris. So let's go ahead and adjust that accordingly. All right, let's see what the strategy is here for Kevin moving forward. Now that Charizard is on the board, he can hit big numbers on it if played just right. Grookey comes down. Take a look and see what Thwackey does. Of course, the Stage 1 over Grookey. The Boom Boom Groove ability. Once during your turn, if your active Pokemon has the Festival Lead ability, you may search your deck for a card and put it in your hand. All right, so the Bengal will go down there on the Dripplin. I believe that does 30 more damage to the active. So Kevin here can stack damage pretty quick. I think Kevin's issue here is it seems like he can't find energy. He can't find energy. He's got one there in the discard. I don't know if he has a way to get it out of the discard or not. Not sure exactly how many energies he plays in the deck. It looks like a typical deck list for this, at least out of the international championships from New Orleans. It looks like the deck there played 9 grass energy. So assuming Kevin plays somewhere close to that. But always, man, that's the thing. When you get, you just can't find the energy. Oh man, it just obviously just ruins the whole game plan. You know, it's just yeah, it's tough to make things happen. And Chris is going to be able to just run through this Dripplin next turn. The Diplin, pardon me, there's no R in there. How dare I? The Diplin. Great card art, by the way. If you haven't seen the Diplin, it's one of those Pokemon cards you look at and you think, All right.
The three
I don't know what they were thinking, but I get it. I'm digging it. I'm digging it.
Grab these three.
All right, so he does find the energy there. Great news for Kevin. He played the Lana's A, put up to 3 in combination of Pokemon that don't have a rule box and basic energy cards from your discard into your hand. So as we saw earlier, that one energy in the discard really coming in big here for Kevin with that Lana's Aid. So let's see how much, if he decides to attack into this Charizard, how much damage he's doing.
Just have to have that guy inactive.
It's got to be an active.
Yeah.
Is he the only one with festival? I thought there were. I guess
There's multiple. Yeah.
So I thought there were a
There are
couple of
multiple.
festival leaders.
Play stadium.
Yep.
Attach.
Energy down on the active.
And I will do the wave. So it's 130 times 2 weakness. So 260 for the first hit. Since I have that stadium in play, I can do it again. So 260 times 2.
Wow, that's actually insane. 260. And then he has Festival Grounds out. Each Pokemon that has energy attached recovers from all special conditions and can't. Oh, wait, no, that's not. No, that's right. Yeah, that is Festival Grounds. Okay. Hold on. Let's take a look. I want to make sure and get this right. Festival Grounds is in play. The Pokemon may use an attack it has twice. Okay. So Festival Grounds is in play on the board. He hits for 260. Since he has that stadium card on the board, he can hit again for another 260. That is incredible. That is incredible. And knocks out that Charizard. So now the question for Chris is, where do we go from here? I mean, just looking at the board state, it seems that we're going to have to just kill some time for at least another turn or so and try the best Chris can to get another Charizard out and rolling, because that's really seems to be the only viable option here for Chris. Trying to see if he does, not knowing the deck list, I'm not sure if he has any other attackers in the deck or not. That Pidgeot EX does have the Blustery Wind attack for 120, and you can discard a stadium. So that's actually not terrible, but you do need 2 energy on that to make it happen. So we could see Pidgeot EX here as a possible attacker. I don't believe he has an energy down on the board there on the Pidgeot EX. Chris having a full board now, he can't put a... Yeah, he's not going to be able to set up a Charizard this turn either, which could be very detrimental to Chris's strategy moving forward. The deck obviously solely relies on Charizard to get this deck running. Well, while Chris is working there to figure out exactly how he wants to set up his board, don't forget there's another $1,000 plus Pokemon League Cup happening this Saturday at Impact Gaming Center right here in Fairview Heights, Illinois. We'd love to see you. Registration's at 9. Round starts at 10. $35 entry fee. It's going to be a blast. We would love nothing more than to see you out here at Impact Gaming Center. We have a wonderful community of Pokemon players, and we would love to see you. That is this Saturday.
Do you want to play the stadium? No.
All right, so looks like Chris played a stadium, so the stadium will go away for Kevin now, which he'll have to next turn if he wants to hit, obviously twice. He'll need that on the board. So we'll see if Kevin has another opportunity to do that. I would assume with the way the deck's set up, that should be fairly easy for him to make happen. All right, so Chris Pheasantippides, it looks like he's now playing Ultra Ball, and we'll get rid of another Ultra Ball and a Fire Energy. And yeah, those go to the discard. All right, let's see what he decides to do. I am interested. I'm very interested to see if he decides to start attacking with this Pidgeot EX. I don't believe he has the energy set up, though, for that. So he may just want to bring, if he can, he may want to bring something up to the active spot, almost as a sacrifice for the next turn. Right now, Kevin down to 4 prize cards. Chris down to 5 prize cards. Round 2 of 4 here at Impact. You know, looking at this festival lead deck, I'm kind of digging it. I may add this to my repertoire. Looks like Chris pulls out the Iono there, and will play it. So that'll bring Kevin down to 4 cards. Chris now will have a new hand of 5 cards. Yeah, this is a tough spot for Chris because obviously you need that Charizard on the board to really accelerate energy, to get a lot of attacks going. It's hard. It's very difficult. Free retreat there from the Pidgeot EX. And he will pass turn over to Kevin. All right, here we go.
Bug catching set with the top 7.
Kevin playing the bug catching set.
Grass, combination of grass Pokemon and grass energy. 2, but I only found 1. Yep.
Kevin's played this card a few times now. Look at the top 7. You may reveal up to 2 in combination of Pokemon and Grass Energy. So Grass Pokemon and basic Grass Energy cards you find there and put them in your hand. Looks like he does find a Grass Energy card. So that'll allow him to start setting up that next Diplin. So really at this point, Kevin's got a great board state. And yeah, at this point, he's setting up another Thwackey on the board. He can just attack in here and start taking some hits. We could see a Boss's Orders, though, to take 2 prize cards on that Pidgeot or that Pheasantipity. That would move the game along faster for Kevin. May not be the best option at this point. But this knockout will open up a bench spot for Chris to get possible another Charizard set up in the next couple of turns. So that's something to consider as well. Of course, you don't want to not attack in this situation, I don't believe. So if you're not sure what the Thwackey does, it has that Boom Boom Groove ability. Once during your turn, if your active Pokemon has the Festival Lead ability, you may search your deck for a card and put it in your hand, then shuffle your deck. That's such a great card. I mean, obviously very specific to this deck, but a great card nonetheless. I mean, search your deck for any card is that's pretty good. I know we mentioned the big Pokemon League Cup this weekend here at Impact. We're also doing the World's Watch Party as well. Coverage will be on the front 198-inch LED screen and multiple TVs throughout the shop. So we'll be watching all the World's coverage here at Impact as well. So if you want to be in an awesome, friendly Pokemon atmosphere, we would love to see you this Saturday. All that stuff happening. I know I'm really excited. I'm going to come in early and partake in the World's coverage. Always one of my favorite weekends to see what Pokemon has. You know, it's just such a good time to see what all the top players in the world bring out. All right, so there comes the ever famous festival grounds. And it will take a knockout there and take another prize card. And that will get Kevin down now to 3 prizes. So let's go ahead and adjust that. All right, so let's take a look at Chris's side of the board. What is Chris going to do in this situation? He'll obviously bring up the Pidgeot because of the free retreat. I think at this point in the game...
I think they're actually taking care of it because I saw it change to 3 and I didn't even touch it. Oh, okay.
Kind of tricking him out there. I'm changing it for him. Anyhow, so all right. So let's see. Chris needs to bring out he needs to get a Charizard set up. I mean, we need to see that going. I think if he doesn't this turn, I definitely don't see a way of Chris turning the game around here. I mean, I guess there's always a way, right? I've been in some pretty crazy games where it feels like you got it covered and you're good to go, and then something out of nowhere just boom, shakalaka, like the old NBA Jam days. All right, so Charmander there. All right, so it looks like he's going to play one on the board. So the thing for Kevin here is if he has a way to bring that up this next turn and knock it out, I mean, I think that pretty much seals the deal. But, we'll see what happens here. But Chris definitely wants that to be set up. There's still not an energy on that Pidgeot. Here comes the Pheasantipity now, allowing to draw 3 cards since his Pokemon was knocked out last turn. So do you commit the energy to the Pidgeot here, or do you commit the energy elsewhere? It almost seems like maybe put the energy on the Pidgeot retreat, bring something else up, and then build up that, or hopefully get that Charizard out next turn. Let's see what Chris decides to do here. We are in round 2 of 4 on this Tuesday night here at Impact Gaming Center. Thanks for joining us. We hope you're enjoying the live broadcast. I'm Matt, by the way. I am. This is my first time on the stream, trying to get settled in and comfortable a little bit here. And once we get rolling for a couple of weeks, we'll get in the groove of things. All right, so Chris now setting the energy down on the bench. I'm trying to think if you'd want to do that or if you'd want to set it up on the Pidgeot, but I guess committed there. This is tough, man. This is always a tough position to be in whenever you don't have your main attacking Pokemon on the board. And as we talked about earlier in the stream, those Stage 2 Pokemon can really, really cause havoc in your game plan just because sometimes just the nature of the game, they just don't allow you to set up as quick or in the way that you want to, All right, so looks like he is going to put the. Oh no, okay. I thought maybe he might retreat the Pidgeot. I will say though, I'm taken back by this Festival lead deck. I didn't know this existed, and I am. I'm writing this information down. I may look into this deck. This deck looks pretty cool. This is like right up my alley. All right, so Chris passes, brings the Rotom into the active spot. And there it is. Boss's orders. Oh yeah, he boss's orders the Pheasantipity up, and that'll be game for Kevin. And there you go. Oh man, Kevin takes the win with the Festival lead deck over Chris's Charizard deck, and what a game, man! That was tough. That was tough for Chris. I think. What really put Chris in the back seat there is not getting those Charizards out and going as quick as he can. If you can't do that, then the deck seems to just it's hard to take a win within that situation. All right, so congratulations to Kevin on the win there, and good work from the boys. Good work. It was a fun match to watch. Nonetheless, and it still seems like Charizard could very well be a legitimate deck moving forward. I mean, listen, you can't rule Charizard out, man. You just can't do it. All right, we'll take a short break. We will have round 3 of our Tuesday night Pokemon tournament coming up in just a bit here at Impact.
Very cool.
It's been a good time. So
You guys just start playing?
I played back when it came out. Like
Okay.
like I don't have it. I don't have any of my cards too. But my friend did have a first edition Charizard kind of thing. Back whenever
Right.
wherever that's all there were first edition Charizard.
Right.
But no, I played Magic forever.
Okay.
Playing Magic. And my friend showed interest in it. He was playing on the app. And then I was like, I'd go to a shop to learn that to play that with you because I don't like playing. I don't play Magic online. I don't like this. I like sitting.
Yeah.
So it's been fun. It's been great. We started junior year of high school, and
Oh, awesome.
you know, it's nice to do shit together.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
Yeah, that's
you got too much of a beard to be in high school, right? You could be anywhere from 16 to 36.
yeah. I'm 23.
All right, that's a reasonable guess.
My dad and I started playing when I was in middle school, so
Yeah.
yeah.
He's playing Magic with me now too. So
Oh, that's good.
We've got 4 days a week that we can come up here, go out to Collinsville, play against.
That's awesome.
That's